What's up, everybody? Recorded this in the middle of a little jam, running the dropper post. And you know what? Let me flip this around and show you what's going on. Yukon, we got our cable from PNW running down the tube here, and it's actually coming out. And the reason it's coming out is because I have another cable here that I'm going to connect it to pull it, fish it through the frame here and up. The hole to go through is near the top here, and it's a very tight bend. So my plan is to connect the new cable, which is a little bit more pliable, bendable, to this one with some masking tape, connect it really thorough, and hope that I can just pull the old one out up through the top, and the new one comes along with it without the tape letting go. The alternative that could help a little bit is removing the crank and removing the bottom bracket. But this is a press fit bottom bracket, and I haven't got tools for that. So we're going to do this the hard way and hope it works out. So there's my setup. Both cables wrapped twice with electrical tape to provide some flexibility. Hopefully I can just pull one through, and this has this little kind of like built-in joint that will pull it all the way up. So let's see if it works. So this is the grommet that goes on the side of the, I guess that's the bottom tube that goes up to the head tube. It would be kind of on the side, so more like this position here if it was on the bike. So because we're running a dropper, this is a blank. You can see there's no holes in it. We got to put a hole in there so that we can run the dropper cable through and utilize that exit port. So to do so, we got to put, well, I guess the way I'm going to do it is with this soldering iron right here. It gets really hot, and I can just angle it and put a hole right on through it. It may not be the best way to do it, but it's pretty quick and efficient. So I'm going to get at that now. Look at that. Perfect. Like factory. That was really the pain in the ass part of this whole project. So you think we're doing a dropper, and you're right, but we're also doing a little bit more than that. So let me show you. I guess I'll start up here with the cockpit, which is the new bar. Whether cat's out of the bag, gonna be a new bar. That bar is down here. We're going PNW all the way. I got the 31.8 range bar in, you can tell it's like a gray color right there. And we're gonna go ahead and pair that with the PNW dropper. This is a 30.9 diameter 150 mil dropper. We've gone ahead and picked up the new gen loam lever in purple. So this ought to be pretty sweet. And we got a couple small parts here to support the other parts. And we're also gonna top it off with some range pedals in black. So let's get to the business. Now that we got the dropper cable routed, the most difficult part is done. So I'm gonna go ahead and take off the bar to go ahead and slip the new one through, and then we will cut the cable to the right length and then throw the new dropper lever on the bar. Here we go. So here's a quick difference between the factory Giant Connect bar and the PNW. The PNW, I believe, is a 30 mil rise or 35 mil rise. I should probably know this. It's stamped on here somewhere, I know. So a little bit more rise, a little bit more back sweep there. More than normal means that my hands hopefully should be in a more comfortable position on the bike. So we're going ahead and just loosened up the stem here. Maybe I can slide this through. I don't want to scratch any of the decals. Hey, look, went right on through. There we go. Getting this done. All right, one little tip for you guys. You got to make sure that, I mean, this is probably the trickiest part about the whole thing, is making sure you've got enough cable coming out, because you've got to attach the cable to the dropper here and then push it down, the dropper down into the seat post. As you do, your cable is going to go down, and that means more is going to come out up here. So if you don't want to have a huge piece of cable sticking out, you've got to do some fine tuning on the measurements. Not only do you have to factor like about how length, how long, how much slack you want to the front, but also how much adjustability you're going to want on that dropper post if you're ever going to want it drop to raise it up or yeah, I guess if you can slam it, great. But if you want to raise it up more, that's going to pull the cable away from the front and have less slack. So you got to consider that and factor it in before you cut. The other thing, just a little cut tip, after you cut it, I just use a little pick here to get into the top, into the center there, just to make sure that the opening is nice and clean. I don't know if it comes up on camera, but I lubed it all the way up to about number 8 here. I took a measurement and I should be able to slam this thing all the way down into the seat post. So that's what we're gonna do now. Drop this thing in there and it should slam all the way if I did my measurements correctly. All right, so I'm gonna have to start pulling the cable out of the front here to give it some slack that it's gonna need to make this happen. So I gotta put the phone down. You often hear him say it's in the details. Well, let me tell you guys, this really is in the details here. This PNW Gen 2 dropper lever is really nice. So many details everywhere. It's just the machining, angles, edges, everything is just so well done. One of these small details is when you're connecting, tightening, clamping down, that's the word, clamping down your cable. You might be able to see, let's see if I can zoom in on this. Can I zoom in? Whoop, this way. Yeah. Wow. There's a little like line notched into the clamp, that like washer underneath the bolt there. And you see it keeps, it's got the direction. You want to put the cable underneath of it. You don't want to line the cable up so that it runs on the inside, because it's got a little groove notched in underneath of it. So the cable will sit into that little spot nice and neatly. Then you tighten it up and you're good to go. Keeps the cable straight, not kinking or bending. So yeah, from here you just cut it and then put your cap on the end. And when it comes time to trimming this cable now, it's really difficult to get a pair of cutters in there and clamp this down at such a short distance without really bending the cable up. So as an alternative, I could disconnect the cable from the clamp here, cut it, put this end cap on there, and then clamp it back down again, which maybe that's the right way to go about it. Here's the original seat post. And at my riding height, pedaling height, I'd be right about the 90 mark, right there in the middle, that first big notch under 100, which would put me right about here, actually about here, on the bike frame. So we can tell that this height here matches almost perfectly with the new dropper post. So this is going to be giving me the maximum amount of that out of the way, seat down to the most, with the perfect height up at the top. So 150 for me on this bike should be perfect. And we're going to top this thing off, if we hadn't done enough PNW parts already. We got the range pedals to toss on. There it is. That's it. It's late, guys. I am calling it a night. Here we go, guys. It is next day out in the light to check out what I'm going to go ahead and consider mechanically, parts-wise, componentry-wise, the finished product. If you got a fat bike, if you got a Yukon, let me know what you've done. Let me know how you like yours. If there's anything else I should check out or consider. That's it. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Catch you next time.